Hey now, Brawlers, it's time for another Board Game Brawl review with Nick Minahan, sponsored by BoardGameBliss.com. Hey peeps, today we're going to take a look at Circus Flohcati from Brawl Games. This is a set collection card game with a little bit of take-that elements to it, where thematically, from what's depicted on the cards, it is a flea circus. This is actually based off of an older release from Reiner Knizia. I believe the older version had more cartoony art. As you will see in my overview, this has very different artwork, but essentially you are trying to gather together these cards in order to get points through various ways, and there's a little bit of push your luck as well. It's easier to just show you the game because it is rather simple and straightforward. So let's go ahead and give you a brief overview of how it's played, then we're going to come back and let you know what I think. Circus Flohcati is a competitive card game for 2 to 5 players. You need to have the most points at the end of the game to win. The game ends in one of 2 ways. If the last card is drawn from the deck, that player finishes their turn and that's the end. Or if one player succeeds in staging a gala show at the end of their turn, which is having one of each of the 10 attractions in hand, that will end the game. The game contains 80 circus attraction cards in 10 different colors. Each color has cards valued from 0 to 7, one of each. There are also 9 action cards, with 3 each of 3 different kinds. We'll get back to those in a minute. To prepare the game, simply shuffle up all of the cards, both circus and action cards, and place them in the middle of the table. On your turn, you may draw cards from the deck and place them in a row, one at a time. You can stop at any time, but you must stop if you draw an action card or a color of card that is already in the row. So this is something like a push your luck element. Assuming neither of those things happen and you stop willingly, you may take one of the cards in the row and add it to your hand. In fact, if you start your turn and there are already cards in the row from the previous player's turn, you can simply take one of those already present cards and not flip over any new cards at all. After that, you have the option of making one or more trios. You do this by placing 3 cards of the same number face up in front of you. At the end of the game, each trio in front of you counts for 10 extra bonus points. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, if you can hold on to one card of each color in your hand, you can potentially declare a gala show. Going back a minute, if you did draw a card of a color already present in the row, the card is immediately discarded and you forfeit your turn. Not only don't you get to take a card, but you can't form trios or call a gala for that turn either. If an action card was drawn, you must resolve it, but you'll still get to take the rest of your turn afterwards. Mind Reader makes an opponent of your choice give you a card. Magic Eye lets you take a card at random from an opponent. Great Parade compels you to keep drawing cards from the deck and adding them to the row until an already present color is drawn. Now, as usual, that card is discarded, but this time you get to take one of the cards from the now expanded row and then finish up your turn. At the end of the game, as described earlier, players tally points. Each trio is worth 10. Calling a gala gets you 10 as well. Finally, you score points for the highest value card of each color in your hand. The lower value cards of each color count for nothing. Remember, for this purpose, a gala is still considered to be in your hand. That is Circus Flohcati. On to my final thoughts. Now, I have found that over the couple of years that I've been, well, maybe I guess 3 or 4 years at this point, that I've been really hardcore into board games and card games, that I have a soft spot for smaller scale card games like this, including other games from Brawl Games like Too Many Cinderellas, which are just very simple, very straightforward, but there's enough interesting things going on with them, and because they're so simple, because they're so easy to teach, and because they can be played so quickly, I just have a soft spot for them. And I think that Circus Flohcati, by the way, I never played the original one, I don't know if there's any differences or whatnot, but I think that it's a decent game. I like it. I think I like it overall. There's a couple of little things I don't like about it that are negligible, and I don't think that they would ruin anyone else's experience with the game. So let's just get those out of the way right now. First off, the first one is purely subjective. It's purely cosmetic, and a lot of people would either not be bothered by it or may even enjoy it, but I'm sure a lot of people are also going to feel like me because all of those people seem to be in my group, and that is that the artwork on the cards is really atrocious. I'm sorry to say that. Now, it's high quality, And I'm not, like, grossed out by the flea heads on everything, but it just looks dumb and kind of goofy and just nasty. I mean, it's not, like, super, like, I can't believe I can't look at it, but just, like, like, whatever. Which is a shame, because everything around that actually looks kind of good. I like the old-timey feel to all the cards, and, like, the way it looks like kind of a photograph, and the font, and even the backgrounds of the colors, the like, graphic design, if you want to put it that way, is actually very good. I just don't like the flea heads. I know they went in a bold direction with this art style as opposed to the original, but didn't work for me personally and the people that I played with. So, but I'm curious if other people had a completely opposite inclination that I had, which I can absolutely see. Obviously, they ran this game through other people who must have liked it if they didn't raise too big of a stink about it. But for me, it just didn't work. But moving on to actual concrete gameplay elements, I would say the one thing I don't like the most is the take that elements that are to the game. Now, to be fair, they're somewhat light. There's exactly 9 action cards in the deck, and one of them doesn't even do anything to the other players. It's just drawing cards from the deck, which indirectly can do something to the other players, but it's not like taking cards from them. But I think it's the taking of the cards from the other 2 action cards, together with, especially the one that's just purely random, together with the fact that the game is just really, really random overall, that kind of, it's pretty annoying. And it's kind of tempered by the fact that the game is short, and it's easy, and it doesn't feel like if you did get screwed by card draw from the deck, or the little push your luck element, or screwed just because someone grabbed the exact card that would have netted you either a trio or even a gala come to your next turn, potentially, that even when that happens, it's really frustrating, but it's not like you're not completely sunk necessarily, but you could be. So I found that a bit annoying, and actually I felt like if there was just some other thing there, another mechanism to replace that take that element, the rest of the game is solid. And that's like the one wart on the game that I wanted to see changed. And you could have switched that out with some other kind of clever set collection thing, but I don't know. I don't always hate take that. I know that I might give that impression, but I think that when it's just sort of sitting there like a sore thumb in the middle of an otherwise pretty good game, it's more noticeable to me. But having said that, again, those 2 things are pretty negligible in the grand scheme of things. And I think that the game moves very quickly. I like the push your luck element to it. So even though it can really sting when it goes south for you, but I like that you have to make that decision like, well, I don't like really need this card that's already out here, but it might be better off than just taking a random chance that I might get screwed. So I dig that. And again, it's not too crippling if things go south for you. I like that you have these different options, like, okay, just try to slam down trios as much as I can, but then it's like, well, then again, it's not like I want to put 3 7s down for a trio, so I might want to hold on to those. And do I go for a gala, or is that just a pipe dream? And instead I should be focusing on just maximizing my points as much as possible with the highest value card of each suit, which might force you to customize how you're going to take your cards in a very different way. So it's a simple game, but there is some important decisions to be made there, which of course, in my opinion, is the hallmark of a really great game, even despite the randomness. So warts and all, I do think that the game is solid, and especially if you are predisposed to like these kind of games, set collection, easy to learn, very fast, Reiner Knizia, then I think you could do a ton worse than Circus Flohcati, and you should definitely at least give it a look. That is Circus Flohcati from Brawl Games, a reprint of an older game.
Thanks for watching. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon, and make sure to check out our sponsor, Board Game Bliss, where you can find an amazing selection of games from around the world. BoardGameBliss.com. Thanks for your support.